What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to Ask the King. This is part 2 of the June 2nd, 2011 episode. Let's get right back into it because I have plenty of questions left here to answer. Okay, the next question, it says, remember back in the days when you made a hateful truth about the YouTube beta channel layout and you gave it a rating of a fucking 0? Now, 1.5 years later, what do you think about the channel layout? And that's from Nuke Sensei. Well, you probably, if you haven't been a follower of mine for a while, you probably have no idea what this guy's talking about. But back in 2009, YouTube did something really silly, okay? Now, YouTube had a previous layout for their channels, and it was very straightforward. You had your main video right there in front of your face, and all the videos that had been uploaded were listed. It was very neat, very concise and clean, and it was very straightforward. It was easy to figure stuff out, okay? Back in 2009, YouTube decided to burp, but after they burped a second time, they decided to launch a YouTube beta channel layout. And what it was is the current layout that you see now. And as you can see on the current layout, everything is Java based. It's all coded. If you click here, all of a sudden the whole screen changes and you get a listing of stuff. And if you click here, you can search in it. The problem is it's not straightforward. It's not intuitive. You actually have to put some time and effort into learning the interface to figure out how to find anything. And a perfect example is my dad. My dad uses the internet all the time, but he says, Phil, when I go on your damn channel, I can't find anything. And I said, Dad, I don't blame you. The channel layout sucks. It was a lot better back in 2009 with the classic layout. But what happened was, in 2009, everyone gave massive negative feedback and said, don't use this layout. We hate it. It sucks, and it has a lot of bugs. YouTube then decided to do whatever the fuck they wanted, completely disregarded all of the feedback, and forced everyone to use the beta channel layout. So, what you see now is what you get. A layout that constantly has bugs. In fact, the latest bug, just so everyone knows, is the comments section on my main page. Usually, I'm able to approve or deny or delete comments there, and depending on what's showing up or not. Right now, if I approve any comment, the entire comment section vanishes from my page, and I have to refresh the browser to get it to show up again. Another bug that's been going on since they changed the layout, playlists. Playlists are constantly fucked up. What happens is you try to add stuff to a playlist, and it adds, but then when you try to change the order of the videos in the playlist, you get 100 errors all popping up all over the place, and it's really, really annoying, and it just sucks, and YouTube just doesn't care. Again, they have no customer support department whatsoever. They don't care about their users. All they care about is their site and making money. So they do whatever the fuck they want, and they completely ignore everyone. It is what it is, and that's what happens when you're a giant mega conglomerate corporation who has no touch with the actual user who uses your business or your website. They don't care, they do whatever they want. So basically 2 years ago, they probably hired a team of people to design a new layout for YouTube. Everyone hated it, and they said, well, we already paid these people to design it, so we're just going to roll it out anyway and fuck the users. And that's exactly what they did. So if you want to know 2 years later what I think about the YouTube beta layout, which is now the standard YouTube layout, I now rank it a negative fucking 2 because it still fucking sucks. It's improved absolutely nothing since they launched it, and it was a complete waste of time and money. Okay. A lot of people have been asking me this question. People are saying, Phil, now that you have the gaming PC, why aren't you playing the latest episodes of Back to the Future, which you had started on PlayStation 3, but then you've had the delay because PlayStation Network was down for so long? The answer is simple. I already paid for the games on PlayStation 3. The way that it worked on PlayStation Network is you had to buy all of the games together as a $20 package. You couldn't buy each episode individually. So it made absolutely no sense that I would buy them on PS3 and then rebuy them on PC. I'm just going to wait for them to be available on the PlayStation Store. By the way, the PlayStation Store is partially up right now. It is having lots of problems, but they are trying to get it up to full speed. So if I get downtime, I will be playing them. Unfortunately, for the month of June, it looks insanely jam-packed, and I don't know when I'm going to have a chance to play them. Okay, next question. Dear DSP, everyone knows that you moved into your condo in the summer of 2009. My questions are, why did you move? Where did you move from? And what was your previous residence like? And that's from the guitar guy. Well, it's a funny story. Back in 2005, okay, I was working at a job in a different part of Connecticut, and I actually had an apartment I shared with 2 roommates up in New Haven, Connecticut. And after a year, that job didn't work out, and I found another job in that area, and I basically lived in that area for about a year, and then that job didn't work out, and I got a job way back down here to this part of Connecticut where I live now, and it was either, at that point, unfortunately, because I'd been in and out of 2 jobs so quickly, I didn't have a lot of money. I was pretty much broke. So I couldn't afford to come down here and get another apartment or anything like that. So unfortunately, I ended up moving back with my parents for several years because literally they lived 10 minutes from my new job. And so I did that for a couple of years, and then in 2009, I finally had the ability to get my own place. This place was for sale literally a block away from where I was working. So I got this place, and you know, it worked out at least for a couple of years. Now, it is a shame that the idiots at my former job laid me off because, think about it, how many people are willing to move closer to the job? I'm a block away from where I used to work, so that if there was snow, if there was, you know, inclement weather, anything going on, I could still make it into the office. I was one of the few people who was always there during inclement weather, and they chose to lay me off. It was a very stupid decision on their part. Let's just leave it like that. Basically, the guy who laid me off is about to get fired, all right? And he's a VP, and he's about to get fired. But anyway, I digress. When I lived with my parents, it sucked. I was in a small bedroom. It was smaller than this. This is my bedroom now. This is bigger than what my bedroom was when I lived with my parents, okay? It was like a closet. And so when I was doing my playthroughs, it was very cramped, very, you know, it wasn't comfortable at all. So boy was I glad when I was able to finally move out and have my own place and do my own thing. So now, obviously, I have way more space. As you know, I can do whatever I want here, and it's a lot better. So that's the story. Next question. Phil, what do you think of David Cage? He's the founder of Quantic Dream and was the creator, writer, and director of Heavy Rain. Whilst that was an excellent game, David Cage is a pretentious asswipe. IGN asked a host of game developers if storytelling and narrative have improved in the last 10 years of video games, and Cage was the only one who said no, citing that video games are still focused on killing an impulse, not answering the question, really, on whether storytelling has improved or whether it's even been the focus of games. Also, I read an article in which he described the revolutionary motion scanning technology used for LA Noire as, wait for it, an interesting dead end. Do you think a person who made such a good game, alright, this isn't even English. He says, do you think a person who made such a good game be given a license to be an asshole, or do you think he's being a dickface? Thanks from Senor Huevos Benedicto. First of all, until I read that question, I never even heard of David Cage. Now, obviously the guy has to be smart if he's writing these great games like Heavy Rain, Indigo Prophecy, and he's executing them well. Obviously, he's a very opinionated person. Now, he didn't really answer the question about storytelling, and obviously the obvious answer, it's a pretty dumb question, because the obvious answer is, yes, of course storytelling's progressed in the past 10 years. 10 years ago, how many games did you have like Mass Effect, like Heavy Rain, which is really story-driven? You didn't. It was mostly gameplay-driven. But I see his point. Basically what he's saying is, take a look at games today. You know, sure, you have the Red Dead Redemptions, you have the Grand Theft Autos, you have the Heavy Rains, you have the Mass Effects, you have certain role-playing games that are all story-driven. But really, what's selling the most today? Call of fucking Duty, John Madden, the same bullshit. The same impulse, oh, it's the same gameplay that I'm familiar with, and I'm blowing shit up, and I'm blowing people's heads off. And at the flip side of that, not only that, but now look at these third-person shooter games that are coming out as well, that are very similar, Gears of War and stuff like that. Sure, there's a story, but no one cares about the fucking story. People are there to just do the gory-ass gameplay. And I understand where he's coming from. He's basically saying it kind of sucks, because here we are 10 years later, and games could have been super far into the future with a revolutionary dialogue and stories and multifaceted things. Video games are bigger than movies, but they could have been more popular than movies and more well-known than movies, and they're not, because people keep buying the same shit, and it's holding games back. That's what I think his point was. Now, he did say it in a pretentious, douche-like manner, so if you want to call him a pretentious douche, I guess you have every right to. The other thing is his comment about the motion scanning technology in LA Noire. Now, I'm playing LA Noire, and it is really awesome. The motion scanning is cool. But I kind of see his point. I don't see how the motion scanning of a face is going to take us into the next generation of gaming. It seems like a gimmick to me. It seems just like motion control and everything else. It's a selling point for the game, but did it really add that much to the game? And the answer is not really, especially when really the only primary reason that they did it is for the interview or interrogation parts. That kind of gets stale after a while. It kind of gets stale and repetitive to see, oh, did he flinch? Did he look left or right? Did he swallow? Oh, doubt. Wow, that's revolutionary. It's not that fun after doing it 5 to 6 times. Now here I am, I'm almost at the end of the game, and it's really not that interesting to me anymore. So I can understand where he's coming from. It's, you know, people tout these new things as like, oh, they're groundbreaking and they're going to change the way that we play games, and they usually never do. I mean, they said it with Little Big Planet, that the created game was going to change the way we game. It didn't. They said it with motion controls. It definitely didn't change anything. And now with the motion capture, I doubt it's going to change anything. So I see his points. He could have been a little bit more tactful with his responses, but he's obviously a very opinionated person. About 7,000 people have asked me about the Call of Duty Elite package and what I think about it. If you haven't heard, when Call of Duty comes out, I don't even know what the fuck they're going to call it. Modern Warfare 3, who knows? But when it comes out this fall, it's going to have an Elite package that basically, if you pay a subscription fee, it's going to somehow link to Facebook and social networking. And people are saying, what do I think about it? I think it's absolutely fucking ridiculously stupid. It's going to fail. No one's going to give a fuck about linking Facebook to Modern Warfare 3. And it's a waste of time. And I think the reason that it is what it is because originally the plan, and I almost 100% guarantee this, originally the plan was they were going to try to make it subscription-based to play Modern Warfare 3 online at all. Like, you probably get like a 2-month trial, and then if you wanted to continue playing it, you would have to pay a subscription fee. And even with the rumor, when the rumor went out that that was going to happen, there was so much massive backlash from the gaming community that Affinity Ward said, oh fuck, we can't do that. We got to think of something quick. So they said, well, we still want to try to make extra money. How can we do it? And they had this harebrained scheme about Facebook and social networking. Nobody cares. Nobody's going to pay for that shit. If you do pay for it, you're going to be a complete fucking moron, okay? It's a waste of time. They need to focus on developing good games and stop trying to think about how to rob the consumer. Okay. a lot of people ask me, am I going to do E3 coverage this year? And the answer is yes. Now, there are a lot of fucking games coming out next week during E3 week. I mean, there's like 4 major releases and then some minor ones. So I'm going to be busy, but when John Rambo comes over on the weekend, we're going to do the same thing we did last year. We're going to try to round up everything that happened in E3 and talk about it. Now, unfortunately, I can't use anything copyrighted, so I'm not going to be able to use any video clips or anything like I did last year. So we might just do a very to-the-point panel discussing the games and what we think about them and what's supposed to be discussed at E3. And there won't be any video or audio, but we'll talk about it. Okay? Now on to Twitter questions, and then we'll wrap this up. First question is from Chuck Isaac 85, and he says, hey Phil, I have a question. Why don't you add me on Xbox Live? I'm Chuck Isaac 85. Please add me. Replay. I'm a big fan of you. Chuck, you're a fucking idiot. Okay. Next question is from PRLSC. I guess it's supposed to say Prisco. And he says, if you had the chance, would you go back to your old job and stop doing playthroughs full time? Well, I do have conflicted feelings, and here's why. At the old job, a lot of people liked me. You know, it was cool to be able to go in 9 to 5 and say you have a stable source of income. You know, right now what I'm doing is based off of my performance. So if one month I really suck and I get no views, I make no money. On the flip side of that, if on a month I get a shit ton of views, I make a shit ton of money. So it's very performance based. But undoubtedly there's going to be times this year, like for example, August right now is looking like a very slow, empty month with no games, where I'm going to have to struggle and figure out what I'm going to do to make money. So the other thing is, a real negative of this is that since I'm self-employed, I have to do my own taxes, and it's very difficult. It's not straightforward. I have to try to figure out what to pay the government at different times of the year, which is very frustrating. And also, my health care. I have to pay for health insurance, and it's insanely expensive. I'm paying something like $400 to $500 a month for health insurance. That's how much health insurance costs in the United States if you're not with a major company who pays the majority of it for you. So, yeah, it's very, very, very risky what I'm doing. But at the same time, I'm having a blast. I'm playing games. I'm having fun. I make my own schedule. I can't complain, and I love what I'm doing. So if really, honestly, right now, if I had an option to go back to the old job and leave this behind, I probably would not. I like what I'm doing right now. It's a very interesting experiment. It's exciting for me, and I'm having fun doing it, and I want to see where this goes and if I can make this work out in the long run. That being said, yeah, there are times when I'm nervous. Like, I am very nervous about my back and stuff like that, and there's questions like, Phil, what happens if you hurt your back and you need to get surgery and now you're bedridden for 2 months? Because that's what happens when you get the kind of surgery that I need to get. For at least a month, I'm stuck in bed, and I can't do playthroughs if I'm sitting in bed. So where's the income going to come from for those 2 months? It's a major concern. So there are a lot of major concerns, but I think the risk right now is worth it for doing what I'm doing. I'm having a blast. I'm making money. I'm having fun. Everyone's enjoying it. The channels are growing. I'm successful. I'm very positive. It is what it is. I wouldn't give it up for the world right now. And that's that. Next question is from GN Nort. And he says, hey DSP, what do you think are the pros and cons of PC gaming as compared to console gaming? That's actually an easy question. There are some pros, and the pros are, number one, the control scheme. For most games, especially FPS games, keyboard and mouse is exceptionally better control than a gamepad. And you'll actually find that on a PC, people are way better at playing these games than people really are on console. Because on console, you're dumbed down. You can't turn around as fast. You can't move as fast. You can't do certain things as good. I love the control scheme of a PC. Number two, PC games tend to have a lot of extras. Like you saw with The Witcher 2. The damn game was only $50, and it came with posters. It came with letters. It came with maps. It came with a collector's edition DVD. It came with a soundtrack CD. It came with a strategy guide. It came with 100 fucking extras for the cheaper than the price of a standard console game. So that's really cool. And then number three, PC games typically have their bugs fixed pretty quickly. So if you have a really buggy PC game, either the developer or sometimes even the fan community, in the case of Fallout New Vegas, develop patches and fix the problems. In Fallout New Vegas, the definitive version of that game right now is the PC version because they fixed all of the bugs. And that really isn't the case for console. Those bugs were not fixed. So it is kind of interesting to see how good PC games are, but there are negatives as well, which I'll talk about right now. The first negative is the cost of the damn gaming PC. As you saw, I had a gaming PC. Originally my budget was roughly $1,000. Then all of a sudden it went up to $1,250. By the time that thing was done, it was $1,500. Then I had to go buy a gaming keyboard and mouse and all that. So really the thing was over $1,600 once it was said and done. So yeah, it's really fucking expensive to play games on PC. In addition to that, PC technology advances dramatically. So in a year or two, my PC may be outdated and I might need to spend even more money, hundreds more dollars, to upgrade the thing to keep playing the latest games. Compare that with a console where the Xbox 360 has been out for what, 6 years now? The hardware has not been upgraded at all, and you can still play every single game on it with relatively decent graphical settings. So if you're looking for the budget, you have to go with consoles. It's a no-brainer that you go with a console over a PC. The other negative thing about PC is that the difficulty. Okay, a lot of PC games have this very sharp learning curve. It's not like console games, where console games pretty much hold your hand for the first chapter or two until you learn how to play the game. PC games, a lot of the times, such as The Witcher 2, throw you right the fuck into it and just expect you to know how to play the game, because that's how PC games are. They're hardcore, pretty much. So, ooh, excuse me. What the hell just happened? My phone just reset itself. That's interesting. Anyway, that's really weird that my phone just turned itself off like that. But anyway, yeah, PC games have pros and cons. For the most part, if there's a game that I think that the better version will be on PC, for example, Duke Nukem Forever, I think really the PC version will be a better version. I'm going to try to get those games for PC. But if it's a game that's cross-platform and it looks like it might be more of an advantage to play it on console for whatever reason, for example, Hunted Demon's Forge, where the control scheme really was made for a gamepad, I'll probably play it on gamepad. Okay, or on console. Alright, 2 more questions and then we're all set for this week. Next question is from Nendroids, and he says, "Hey Phil, I missed a couple of Ask the King, so sorry if this has been answered, but are you going to get a gaming phone?" And this is a funny question because a lot of phones now seem to have games on them. In fact, there's the new Sony phone coming out that supposedly is going to play games that are like PlayStation 2 games. My answer is absolutely not. No, I'm not getting a gaming phone, and the reason is when I play games, I take them seriously. I want to sit down in front of my big screen 50-inch TV, or 52-inch TV, I don't even remember how big it is. I want to play the game and enjoy it, and have my surround sound and sit on a nice comfy couch and really get the whole immersive experience. I don't want to stare at a tiny fucking screen trying to play a game on my phone, kill my cell phone's battery, and totally basically eliminate the reason for me having the phone in the first place. It's the same thing with like I said, with the Nintendo 3DS and the new PSP that's coming out. That, what's it called? The NGP, yeah, NGP, the Next Generation Portable. Why do I want to play near HD graphics on a tiny fucking screen with little shitty speakers and bad controls? I'd be a moron. So why would I want to do that? It's the same thing. Sure, maybe if you have a lot of time to kill, if you have a commute every day on the subway, maybe you want to get the gaming phone. But unless you're constantly commuting or you have time to kill, why the fuck do you want to play games on a tiny screen? It makes no sense to me. It blows my mind that people ran out and bought the Nintendo 3DS when there were no fucking games for it, yet they still ran out and bought it like idiots. The whole portable gaming thing to me is just, it blows my mind. Now keep in mind, I love my Nintendo DS. I still have the Nintendo DS Lite, and I'm going to keep playing. I have Dragon Quest games on it that I play, and guess when I play them? When I want to kill time. So that's the purpose of those things. I wouldn't want to kill my cell phone battery playing a game. I don't understand the whole crazy people playing a game on their cell phones. I think they're idiots. Alright, I know they're idiots. Okay, last question. This one's from Rob Emanuel, and he says, "Hey Phil, do you ever think that the stereotypes of gamers will ever be thrown out the window, meaning that you're nerds, they're geeks, they're fat, they're losers, they're virgins, blah 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 blah?" Listen, there's always going to be stupid stereotypes, okay? At one point, jocks were known as to be dumb idiots, you know, they were good for nothing, they're just big bruisers. Now, it seems like, you know, gamers or nerds are the next thing. And it's funny because, look at me. Do I look like a nerd? Do I sit around doing nerdy things all day? Not really. I play games, and, you know, unlike the people who criticize me for playing Witcher 2, no, I don't fucking sit around for hours on end studying the strategy guides, studying the instructions, practicing, and then doing an epic master level playthrough. That's not what I do. I sit down and I play a game at face value, you know, shoot from the hip, try to learn the game and try to beat the game. And I think that I pretty much represent the average common gamer. Again, I don't think the average common gamer is a nerdy stereotype who all they do is sit around studying and playing video games. So I think it is a silly stereotype. Now keep in mind there are people who go to that extreme, such as some of the people that Howard Stern criticized at too many games. But not everyone's like that. It's an overgeneralization. But you know what? It's always going to happen. There's always going to be haters. The bottom line is, really, gaming is becoming more mainstream, and I predict that over the next 5 to 10 years, it will become mainstream to the point where it's going to become just as popular, if not more popular, and then movies and everything else that kind of has come to the forefront in the past 20 to 30 years. So I'm excited about it, and let people make fun of you. Ha ha ha, big fucking deal. Right now, gaming is the popular thing. You know, sports are kind of dying out. Ratings are going down for sports, and movies actually are losing money. They're not making as much money as they used to at the box office. Video games are the next big thing. Be happy to be a part of it, okay? So I'm DSP. That's been it for this edition of Ask the King. It was a long one because there were a lot of questions to answer. I'll see you guys next time.